Alright, so I agree like a lot with Montesquieu, and I think that his point is more valid than John Stuart Mill. Separation of powers is something that's needed in today's world because if one person has every power, if they have the power to decide if somebody's guilty, they have the power to make the laws, they have the power to enforce the laws, then that's creating basically it's creating a little bit of a bias, which is infringing upon a citizen's rights. Um, Basically, and also, the separation of powers prevents a bias, and um, okay, so the separation of powers is something that's greatly needed. And I personally think that Montesquieu's point is much more valid than John Stuart Mill's. Basically, if we have one person who has the legislative power, the judicial power, and the executive power, then there's always the possibility of abuse of power. Um, they're basically the person with the power to make a law, decide if a person's guilty, and then decide their punishment, which in itself is a violation and an infringement of a person's rights. On top of that, without a separation of power, there's a creation. I mean, going along with the past example, there's a creation of bias within the government. Um, and we've seen that the separation of powers works. We've seen that it works for over 200 years. Sometimes there are problems with it, such as, with declaring war, with the war in Iraq and Afghanistan, but more times than ever, the separation of powers is has always worked. It's always proven to be a good thing to have.